Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your host, Tanya. How are you? Thank you so much for coming back with us. Happy New Year to everybody. And we hope going forward for the new year that everybody's prosperous, happy, and healthy. Very, very important. Tonight's guest he's a stand-up comedian who has been seen at Dangerfield's, the Broadway Comedy Club, Greenwich Village Comedy Club, and Comic Strip Live New York City. More recently, he has been doing Zoom like everybody else during the times of quarantine, and he has appeared in a lot of virtual shows. Plus, he's shared with us his personal experiences on the battle with COVID as a long hauler. Please welcome comedian Bruce Lipsky.
Thank you so much, Tanya. I do appreciate being here. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah. Oh, no problem. Anytime. You know, I love you guys, Bruce. All of us comics got to stick together in the pandemic.
That's right.
So, how have you been?
Good. Considering everything, obviously you brought up the long hauling situation. I got COVID back in March of 2020, and I've been dealing with these symptoms since then. Essentially, these up and down spikes, whether it's headache, lightheaded, nauseousness, trachea constriction, chills. I mean, you can give the whole gamut of different things. But the good thing is, thankfully, I have always had my energy, because I knew a lot of people who have had COVID and they've been wiped out completely. Yeah.
Well, that's how's the comedy been going with that?
Actually, it's ironic. COVID has helped comedy in some ways because it's allowed people to be in Zoom shows all around the world. I can be at 7:00 in the morning. I can be in Tokyo. 9:00 I can be in Bangladesh, and then later on I could be in Hong Kong and Los Angeles. So on that note, I met so many people, over the year and a half or so, give or take a little bit, on the Zoom comedy. But obviously, Zoom comedy is not live comedy. We all know that. Right. You're a veteran of the stage. When you get out live, it's a totally different ballgame. Even just performing on a Zoom show, when you have a joke, you have to learn to perform, especially on Zoom, because there's always that couple of second lag between your punchline and hopefully the audience's responses. And I tend to talk fast to begin with, so it was a big challenge for me, to not step on my punchlines.
Right.
But it's been great. I met a lot of people. I've gotten onto a lot of shows. I never would have met you.
Yeah, honestly. That's right.
I'm blessed that way.
Yes. Yeah, I like the Zoom comedy too. I mean, of course, everybody likes live better. That's hands down. But it was not hard for me because I'm an animated person anyway, and I'll connect with you no matter how. I'm like AT&T, or I can reach you in any corner. And I'm about to kill myself. That was my Mac.
Should I duck?
Nope, that was my Mac laptop that fell. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I kind of like Zoom now. At first it was like weird, awkward, but I was used to doing it because I was teaching around the world for something with foster youth. So it didn't. It was kind of like a precursor, and I didn't even know it. I was doing all these Zoom classes to like 100 kids, 50 kids, whatever they gave me. So it was when the pandemic hit and that became a thing. I was like, oh, I do this already anyway.
Right. Yeah. Right. Because I've been out of the corporate world a long time. I worked for a Fortune 500 company for 25 years. That was 16 years ago. On my 25th anniversary, I walked into a senior management meeting thinking I'm going to get my grandfather clock. And instead, they eliminated my whole division, and I got my clock clean, basically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was 16 years ago. So I got to retire. I had 25 years of service, and I just turned 50. So I actually was able to retire.
Really?
Then I worked somewhere else.
I thought you retired early, that you lose out or something. I thought you got to wait an extra 2 years or something.
Well, here's the whole scenario. They go by points. 50, 25 years of service. That's the 75 points is the magic number. So I can walk out as a retiree, but that really doesn't mean anything, because there's really no big retiree benefits at that point. They bought me out, which is a good thing. Then I worked 3 years somewhere else. And then I was seriously injured in an auto accident. I had a bad spinal injury. So that was 2009. I had this bad spinal injury. So a lot of times people ask, Bruce, how'd you get into stand-up comedy? The fact that I can stand up, I got into stand-up. That's what I always say. About 3 years ago, I got into stand-up. But I went through many, many years of aggressive rehab. And I still do my own rehab every day. I walk with
Wow.
a cane, but that doesn't stop me. I'm still very active, but I'm blessed with the fact that I'm here talking to you because it was this close to not being here. So yeah,
Wow. Well,
yeah,
that's why you
yeah.
have such a great disposition. That's probably why I noticed that about you.
Mhm. And
So COVID, I had heard with COVID though too that for long haulers this is what one girl said that when she got the booster that it actually helped her with the long haul symptoms. Is that true for you, or it's not the same thing?
no, no, no. Unfortunately, when I got the first vaccination, I didn't have any other effects of it. The second vaccination knocked me for a loop for 3 days. I thought I was getting COVID again.
Okay.
I recently had my booster shot about 2 weeks ago, and for 2 or 3 days, I was out of it also.
Okay.
And now I'm back to my normal COVID symptoms, whatever you want to
Well,
call it.
that's just I'm sorry to hear that because I was really saying, okay, well, maybe this is a good thing because the girl was really convincing people that if you do this booster, that should help you with the long haul. Maybe she just meant her case.
And
Maybe it was
it's
just
all an individualized case. For
right. Exactly.
example, my son, we think, was the first person to get COVID in the family,
Oh,
and he's 26 years old.
hmm.
His symptoms are totally different than mine.
Okay.
He has some breathing issues and terrible insomnia. And if you look
Uh,
up the list of COVID
yes,
symptoms, those are the two up there. I don't have that.
I have a family member that has that. Yeah, and
And
they didn't even have it. Didn't even seem they went through it like in 3 days. They were better. It was like
right,
what?
right, right,
But,
right,
but they still have breathing stuff in it.
right.
So.
And my son is an athlete, which makes it harder for him. But it hasn't stopped him. He's a competitive football player, flag football player, and also a handball player, among other things.
Okay.
And but it hasn't stopped him, but it certainly affected him. Just like it hasn't stopped me. Again, one of the things with COVID, you're probably well aware, when we first got it, it basically wants you to crawl up into a ball and basically give up.
Right.
And I wasn't going to do that. And I kind of had to force myself to get out of bed and
Right.
just start walking and walking and walking. One of the good things is I've always been an avid exerciser. So that was always built into my routine. And maybe that helped me out a lot. I don't know.
Right.
And there's a
Probably
lot of factors. Yeah.
Probably
And
so. And I mean, I'm looking and asking my friends too, different things to see how we can do our own thing and help, get better if we do get it. But one of the things I definitely think cannot hurt is proper nutrition that feeds your cells, because what happens is if your cells are not repaired already and you've already damaged them from accidents or whatever it is, doesn't matter, virus or whatever, then there's absolutely no way that your body can get better. So if you start doing, I mean, if I were you, I'd just try for 4 weeks, like plant-based diet. Just try it and see what happens.
yeah.
Just for fun, because I'm telling you, I believe, and this is for me, any illnesses I had was gone when I started eating to live instead of eating whatever it is. That sounds good. That sounds good.
That's a great point you say. I mean, I don't have a perfect diet, but my diet is more based on plants and grains and things like that. Doesn't mean I don't eat chicken. I mean, I'm not a meat eater. I'm not a fish eater. So if anything, my main staple for protein is chicken or turkey. But that's not the basis of my meal. That's usually, they say you're going to have that. Maybe you have 4 ounces of the turkey or chicken, and you surround that with whatever else, anything colorful. We usually say,
Right.
And I'm very weird in a lot of ways. I'm a very set person. I'm very regimented, and my breakfast, and it drives my son crazy. I have quinoa. Fresh blueberries and strawberries usually, or some sort of berry. Quinoa, that's the grain.
Go ahead.
And then I have walnuts with that, raisins, and cinnamon.
That sounds good, actually, because the quinoa is protein, so that's good.
Yeah, exactly, and also the walnuts, and also it's low on the glycemic index, which is good, so it doesn't raise the blood sugar, and it also actually is very good. It's very good fuel for exercise.
I'm gonna have to get that recipe from you again when I shop. I forgot to get quinoa today, but that's a good one. I like that a lot.
And I boil up a big batch of it, and I keep it in my refrigerator. I take out several spoonfuls, throw it in there, put it in the microwave, heat it up, and throw all the other stuff in there. 5 minutes, I got breakfast.
Look at that. You're probably the only healthy comic I know.
I mean, it doesn't mean I don't have other vices, let me tell you. As I said, I'm very regimented. Then I have something I call it my cyclonic tonic every day. I have
Like,
one of those I have one of those NutriBullets.
uh-huh.
And so after I exercise, what I have my organic almond butter,
Hmm.
and then I have several spoonfuls of that. Or sometimes I put it on a pumpernickel bagel just to get a little extra crunch and taste.
Uh-huh.
And then I have, as I said, my cyclonic tonic, and that usually is frozen papaya,
Hmm.
frozen mango, or combination of peaches or pineapple with water. I use water and I use flaxseed with that, and I
Wow.
spin it up, and I make this huge vat of it, and I have that after exercise.
So you're
So
really,
yeah.
really healthy. What do you do? Any dairy?
No, no, no. If I have
Smart.
a occasional slice of pizza, it's not
Right.
that I'm against
Yeah.
dairy. I
Well,
just
I
don't
miss
like.
the pizza. I miss the pizza. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm not really a dairy person to begin with. For example, tonight my wife made fresh pesto for
Mm.
dinner, pesto sauce, and we had
Yeah.
pasta and we had
Hmm.
peas with it. So you got the pasta and the peas, you got the combination. So you got the protein source with that,
Mm.
and she made the pesto and she put some cheese in there, grated Parmesan cheese. But it's not like I'm having gallons of cheese. It just has an
Right.
added flavor.
Right.
I won't wake up in the morning and have a piece of Swiss cheese or American
Right.
cheese or anything
Right.
like that. It just,
Yeah, that's how I am. Yeah, good for you. Well, that's good. You sounds like you're doing like all the due diligence.
yeah,
So I'm
and the
gonna.
vitamins too are important. As I said, the vitamins are important too. The vitamin D especially. When I got sick
Yes.
with the COVID, I was fortunate enough that my doctor is pretty progressive, but the local pharmacist in town is very progressive. He was having me take 200,000 milligrams of vitamin D a day
That
because
much?
he wanted me to build up my vitamin D levels to almost 150. And then he says he wants me to maintain around 100 after that. Yeah.
Really?
So, yes, I'm taking now about 5 to 7,000 milligrams, or whatever the units are of
Okay.
vitamin D a day, plus magnesium, plus some other stuff. And
Well, you
yeah,
know that some D's are not as how to say as efficient as the other ones. Like the ones you put
right,
under your tongue are much more efficient than the ones that we get in the jar usually.
right.
So
What I
that's
do
also
is, yeah, what I do,
because
I get these little capsules, and in the capsule, it's a liquid vitamin D. I take a pin and I
oh, that's
and,
what I
and I
used to
squeeze it into my water,
do.
and yeah, yeah.
I
Uh,
used to do
crazy,
that with the vitamin E.
crazy, but hey, hey, you only got one body. That's the thing. You got to take care of it.
That's it.
Unfortunately, I lost my brother a couple of years ago. He was only 75 years old to
Oh,
various diseases. I have another brother who has various diseases also, and
mhm.
so yeah, it's scary. You can pick your friends, you can't pick your parents.
No.
I remember when my father went into the Navy. He was 140 pounds.
Wow.
When he had a first heart attack, he was 220 pounds. You know, you
Wow.
know,
Wow.
and that's just because that growing up in that era, food was like you said, we live to eat, we don't eat to live,
Right.
type of
Right.
thing. And that's just the way it went.
Yeah.
Growing up in that environment, I was the youngest of three boys. Maybe I was the slowest one to get to the table. I don't know. I always was a picky eater. You know,
Right. Okay.
I've always been relatively thin, but I always work at it too. I've been exercising for the longest time. I
Mhm.
mean, I don't lift heavy weights or anything like that. I'm not Charles Atlas, but as I said, I think I do the right thing. Common sense. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Wow. Well, any advice you'd give to anyone else that may be going through this? Because especially artists, because you're an artist, so you're a comic, and that's it's been a blessing for you in the sense that now you can really focus on it when you can. It's like I don't think it's not taking away anything, right?
No,
Remember,
I was blessed that way. I did lose my appetite, but I never had a problem. A little bit of brain fog in the beginning, but
right?
that didn't sustain. The energy levels were always pretty good.
Hmm.
So the key thing I feel is that attitude. You know,
Hmm.
this disease is not just a physical disease; it's a mental disease too.
Yes.
I mentioned before, this disease wants you to crawl up in a ball, basically to give up. And I
Yes.
wasn't going to do that for many reasons. But the comedy has helped a lot too, because the comedy forces me to be sharp and right,
Right.
and perform and memorize.
Right.
You know, and again, I'm not saying I'm Jerry Seinfeld, I'm not Ray Romano, but I do what works for me. And again, if somebody's crazy enough to want to put me on a show and they like me, that's fantastic. And I seem to get invited back a lot, so that's a good thing. But
Yes.
it keeps me fresh, it keeps me writing, and I've also helped working with other comedians too. That
Mhm.
we have one-on-one writing, we can write together. As I
Right.
said, we're a comedy buddy system, so we can
Yeah.
feed off each other that way.
I have a writing group too that I
Yeah.
work. Yeah.
And I'm also big on networking. I feel it's very important to network and also give back.
Yes.
people as well. I think it's very
Yes.
important.
I also find too I got into producing because I was tired of not seeing women, not seeing Black women, and not seeing older people get put on as headliners. So I just said, you know what, you guys, sometimes you don't ask to sit at the table, you make your own. And I'm very big on that. I don't care if it's two people that come. I'd rather have my own and not have to be begging and crawling and asking, oh, can you put me on? No, I don't want to do that. So I'm committed to having more female headliners this year, having more people over 50, and whoever, anybody, LGBT,
Exactly.
whoever, whoever, just something different because, I'm tired of just seeing the same people on the same people, and they never give other people a chance.
But not only that, you get some people who are very stale. When I say stale, in the sense that they basically breathe the air when you're on a show. Right. I've seen so many shows where these people are sitting back in their bed and they're like half committed to the stuff. I find it a blessing in a lot of ways if somebody invites me to be on a show. I may not be the funniest guy in the world, but I'll give you every effort to be the most professional person. I'm not going to be an idiot. I'll show up on time. Right. You tell me I'm up first, I'm up last, I'm up sixth. You tell me it's 3-minute set, 10-minute set, 5-minute set. Okay, no problem. You're the boss. Yeah. Don't be a schmuck, basically. That's what I say. And that's the same thing in the live comedy, too. Yes. I've seen so many people burn bridges because they get up there and they think they're the next Jerry Seinfeld, and the guy says, "Hey, I got to bump you to the back of the line." "Oh, I have a back of the line," or whatever. "You're only doing 6 minutes today." "Oh, 6 minutes." Oh, yeah.
Right.
No. Hey, be happy what you get, and if you're a good person, you do the right thing. People notice that.
I think so.
And usually that's helped me branch out a lot too, and as I said, network with people, and I do the same for other people too.
Exactly.
Else good for me, I'll always recommend it for something else.
Yes.
Somebody asked me the other day. They said, "Bruce, how do you get on so many of these shows?" Well, first of all, I put myself out there. I mean, I'm no marketing genius. I go on Facebook, I go other places. Who's producing shows? "Hi, Tanya, how you doing? It's Bruce Lipsky here. I'm a comedian. Blah blah blah. I'd love to get on one of your shows. What's the process?" Right.
That's what that's how we met too. Yeah. Because another
exactly. Right. Exactly. So it's not rocket science. It just means if you're a good person, do the right thing and just show some aggressiveness, but not aggressiveness as a negative way, aggressiveness in a positive way,
Yeah. Because I hate people that inbox you 5,000 times. That's annoying. It's like you already asked. Okay. If I didn't get back to you, there must be a reason.
Right.
Even if it is not a good one, it must be a reason. But you have to put yourself out there. You have to. I mean, nobody's going to know who you are. Nobody knows who we are. Right. So I agree.
And there are sacrifices too. I've been on an Australian mic at 4 a.m. It's not something I would do on a regular basis. Or I've been on a mic from LA that ended at 1 o'clock in the morning.
I was doing Seattle, London.
Oh, there you go.
4 till 2 a.m. in the morning. It was like, what?
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Put the alarm clock and get on.
But I understand. Yeah. That this is the way things are now. So,
it is. But, I love the international shows. Ralph Ganji is the first one that I knew started international shows. And I just love them because they just... it brings people together. I get to see somebody in Nairobi, somebody in China, somebody in, wherever, Thailand. I don't know. He's got India. He's got them from all over, New York. I like that. I think that we are teaching people how to laugh together.
Not only that, you can see the different styles and brands of comedy when you see people from the UK, Scotland, India, China, you can go on and on and on. You can Canada, it doesn't really matter where. And then you get to know these people, and maybe in the grand scheme of things. I mean, again, everybody can say this. If I ever get to the UK, I have a lot of people say, "I'll put you on stage in real shows." Oh yeah, I'm sure you do the same thing. Canada or wherever it may be. Get out to California, get out to Colorado, come down to Texas. Yep. We'll get you on the stages here in Las Vegas, all because of this venue of Zoom or StreamYard or whatever it may be. Yep. It allows me or Tanya to say, "Hey, I've met people," and I remember one time I did a show a Zoom show from Los Angeles, and there was a producer on the show, a woman on the show, and after the show, she DM'd me and said, Bruce, how would you like to do one of my Zoom shows out of Colorado? I love what you do, love your style, whatever it is. And so I did a few shows for her coming out of Colorado, and they're very well produced shows. And that just springboard into other things. I've done variety shows where I was like one of the few comics among people who were doing prose, we're doing music, or they're doing something else, poetry or just commentary. Right. And it was great. And I got invited back, and they had theme shows. It was let's say we had a Halloween show, we had a St. Patty's Day show, or a whatever it is, St. Valentine's Day show, and it made me write specific jokes or sets for that. So it actually broadened my horizon in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. So now I have a Valentine's Day set. I have some other sets, So
nice. Yeah, no, I love all the Zoom is just amazing. I hope they come up with even more ideas for Zoom and make it even better. So they think be like StreamYard. So to be your competitor. But hi out there. So guys, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna check out a clip of. Let me see if I can get to the clip of Bruce's comedy. Hey Emma. Hey Anthony. Hey Lanta. Hey Grandma Norma. I see you guys out there. Everybody out there. Thank you for watching. Yep, I see who's over here. Hey, good evening, and good evening to you too. So we're gonna check out Bruce's comedy. Let's see if I can get this clip right. All right. Everybody knows that I am not the techie, but I'm trying today. I'm going to try today.
This is from 1921. Excuse me.
But this is I want to say is a year old. Is that right, Bruce?
Could be. Yeah.
All right, ready? Let's see. Boom.
Welcome, Mr. Bruce Lipsky. Don't mind the cane, folks. I'm just using it until I settle my lawsuit. Being bald has actually helped my marriage. My wife spends a lot of time in the garden, and the fact that I've lost my hair, she decided to say, hey, if I water you regularly, I set you out in the sun, we can do major things for you. So she has a pet name for me now. She calls me Chia. My wife just hired a new cleaning lady. This woman refuses to clean the whole house. I told my wife, I hate this woman. What she does, she comes in late, she eats all our food. I finally told my wife, this is not working out. You gotta fire your mother. My wife is into this fitness stuff, but she takes goat yoga. I'm not kidding. What she does is she goes to the studio, she lays on the mat, the goats roam around, they jump on your back and lick your ear. I said, sure, you'll pay a goat to do that. She said, well, he's got great technique and better breath. She fooled me. She gladly took me to a yoga class. She dragged me there. I was so embarrassed when I got there. I had the only mat that read, please wipe your feet before entering. And it also fooled me, it was a hot yoga class. Imagine 40 people shoved into a room the size of a walk-in closet. 150 degrees. At one point while doing my downward dog, I looked in the mirror and I said, God, please tell me that was not a goat's tongue. And my wife's spending is totally out of control. She just came home with a new dog. She called it a designer dog. It's a cross between a bulldog and a Shih Tzu. I said, how much money did you spend on this dog? She said, I only spent $3,000. I said, that's a lot of bullshit, Sue. And this dog is driving me crazy. At night, all it does is snore and fart. My wife said, I thought it was you. And with my luck, I got the only dog with restless leg syndrome. I haven't slept in 3 weeks, constantly getting kicked and jabbed. My wife said, don't blame the dog, that was me. And now my wife, something new, she decided to knit a cashmere sweater for the dog. I said, why are you making custom clothes for the dog while I buy off the rack at Kohl's? She said, well, you're not a designer dog. I got a call from my 87-year-old dad the other day. He said, Bruce, guess what? A new comedy club just opened up in my neighborhood. I said, that's fantastic, Dad. What's it called? He said, Stand Up MRI. I said, Dad, can you tell me anything else about it? He said, I don't think they close. I said, what do you mean? He said, there's a sign that says, Open MRI. I said, also, did you think they accept hip? He said, yeah, they probably accept all forms of medicine, and not medicine, body parts, excuse me. I took my parents to Friendly's for breakfast, and my mother right away started an argument with the manager. She said, how come you no longer have coffee served in those nice brown mugs? The manager said, we stopped doing it because they kept on disappearing. She said, oh, that's too bad. I only needed one more to complete my set. And now that they've gotten kicked out of Friendly's, restaurants are starting to rate them on Yelp. My mother called me and said, Bruce, guess what? We just got 1.5 stars from Denny's. Isn't that fantastic? I said, no, Mom, 4 or 5 stars are fantastic. She said, well, I guess I'll have to go back 2 more times. Since it's trouble taking these people to restaurants, I took her to my favorite restaurant. We're sitting there, my mother starts eating. Suddenly she slams a fork down and said, this is the worst Greek salad I've ever eaten. I said, Mom, we're in a Chinese restaurant. Decided to go back to their house. Made a mistake. I opened up the refrigerator. Oh my God, Mom, the top shelf looks like a breeding ground for bacteria. I said, your Grey Poupon is actually gray. And how old is this meatloaf? She said, that's salmon. And Dad, this juice expired in 2014. You can't drink this. I don't believe in expiration dates. The government's in cahoots with big business. I said, that's not a bunch of malarkey, Dad. Big business is Exxon. There's no conspiracy going on at the Clover Valley Prune Juice Company. And I decided to hire a cleaning lady for my parents because their house was disgusting. The problem is that my mother cooks dinner for the person who comes to clean the house. I said, Ma, you don't have to cook for the help. She said, well, your mother-in-law really likes my meatloaf. That's my time, folks. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Wait, I gotta go back to stop sharing. There we go. Thank you very much. That was Bruce Lipsky.
Thank you.
Awesome. I really appreciate that. Great stuff you out there. What's that? Where was that comedy club at?
That was Gateway Comedy Club. That was out in Ronkonkoma.
Ronkonkoma, Long Island, right?
Yeah, way out in Long Island. It was actually part of the Clarion Hotel. They had a room out there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, good for you. That was good to get that kind of gig in 3 years. Woo, that's good. Good deal.
Yeah.
What do you call it? So how have you been traveling much since you started? You said 3 years ago, correct?
Yeah. Too. I've only been doing New York City, Long Island, occasionally New Jersey.
Wow, that's amazing.
But I'd be happy to, somebody, as I said, crazy enough to put me on a stage somewhere else and I can fit it into the schedule. You got to have a balancing act too, because I do have a family. I have a wife, obviously. Right. And sometimes my wife looks at me and says, you're working hard with this. Don't ask for it. You may get it,
Right, exactly. That's true.
She's dying for me to get something in the UK because she used to travel for business when she used to work, and she used to go to the UK a lot. So she has a lot of friends out there.
I just came back from there.
Yeah, it's a great place. Great place. Yeah. But so may work out. As I said, I'm doing a show, a live show at the end of this month back in New Jersey at a restaurant. It's the 3rd time we're going there. Got invited back, which is great. Nice. 2 weeks ago, I had 4 live gigs. Thing is, I canceled out on a bunch only because of the COVID situation.
Yeah, it was crazy.
The Broadway Comedy Club on Friday night, that show actually got canceled, And
Yep.
then the following Monday, I was supposed to be at Greenwich Village. I backed out on that one. Then there was a library show I backed out of, but I did do one library show in my local town over here.
Okay.
It was fun. But the thing is, I love doing it. It's just a question of, how comfortable do we feel about coming
it's
out
a lot
there?
of stuff. I heard a lot of comics down in the city got this. They're passing it around. So I was like,
I
I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I'm not a headliner. I'm not a star in a sense of getting booked on major shows. So sometimes I'll get booked for a Monday night at Greenwich Village at 7:30, which is an honor, and I appreciate that. But let's face it, you're not going to wind up with 150 people there.
Right,
So.
right.
Well, I take whatever it is because my feeling is that, whether it's 5 people in the room or 500 people in the room, I'm going to give the same effort.
That's right.
And I think that's important. I never once will mail it in. And I don't know how much time we have, but the reason I got into comedy, one of the reasons I got into comedy, I mean, I always loved comedy. I used to go to Dangerfields. My family had this sarcastic sense of humor, but a friend of mine used to run a foundation and once a year do a benefit show. During the benefit show, she would hire comedians.
Oh.
And one year she hired a relatively famous national touring comedian, which of course I won't say the name. And I was fortunate enough to have this person sit next to me at dinner.
Okay.
And so I was going back and forth, tapping this person's brains and everything. It flowed really well. He gave me his number, blah, blah, blah. He went out, did an amazing job. People loved him. Next year, he got invited back. And guess what? He sat next to me again.
Really?
But I sensed something wasn't right with him this time. There just wasn't the energy, the flow, whatever it was. He got on stage and did 20 minutes and got off the stage.
Wow.
And he sat down next to me and said, boy, it's a tough crowd today. And I got angry. I really got angry. And I said, God, this guy had the opportunity and she was getting a lot of money for this. I know because my friend, she told me what she was paying him.
Right.
And, again, jokes may not be the funniest all the time. We all know that. Not everybody's going to laugh at everything. Right. But the attitude was not there. And I vowed if I ever get the opportunity, my attitude will be there, and hopefully the jokes will follow with it. Because you can tell when somebody gets on stage and they don't have the confidence in their material, or just there's something missing. There's no energy flowing, and there's no. You're an animated person, so you're very emotive. So for you to stand on stage and not move, something must be wrong with Tanya.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Me not talking fast, there must be something wrong. Okay.
Right.
So that's the same thing. So I said, if I ever get the opportunity, as I said, I'm gonna go for it. So I took a class. I took Stand-Up University. Fabulous comedians: Rich Walker, Peter Bales, and Steve Lazarus.
Okay.
Established comedians out in Long Island. I had never been on stage before. I didn't know how to write a joke or anything. I can tell jokes. I can tell jokes like I can.
Well, how'd you get into it then? What made you I'm going to do this?
I'm going to do this because I felt that a couple of things. One is that I saw what happened with this person, and it made me angry because I always liked comedy. I used to go to.
Oh, so you hadn't been doing it yet?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay. I thought you were on this. Okay.
No. I vowed also with my injury, if I can stand up, as I said, I want to do stand up. Right. So I took the class, and I really loved it. Again, my first, like everybody's first, it wasn't the best in the world, but I worked really hard at it. And I felt that I progressed tremendously, and I would try to be out there as much as possible.
Right.
But again, given the fact that I'm an older comedian, I'll be 66 this month. I'm not old in the sense of age-wise old, but the fact that, compared to a lot of these young kids, they kept on saying, Bruce, if you really want to make it, you got to go to the city, go to these open mics at 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock at night in the village and uptown, downtown.
Right.
I said, that's not happening.
No, not for me either. I'm not doing all that.
Exactly. But I tried some of those. I actually tried a couple of them. I remember being on Broadway Comedy Club, 10:30 at night at a mic. And I was saying to myself, what am I doing here? You know, I
Yeah,
drove in.
I didn't like that whole scene. I just was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, for me as an African American woman, I was like 30 guys, and I'm the only black person, much less black girl, much less a girl. So I was like, this is so lame. I am not hearing any more.
Exactly. And what do you think I felt? I was like, I should have been the guy cleaning up. I was the guy that got dropped off at the bus from the old age home and lost his way and wound up in this club somehow, 10:30 at night, And these guys were like 20-year-old kids, and half of them were drunk or high, and they weren't paying.
Well, they have a 2-drink minimum.
Yeah, exactly. They had a 2-drink minimum before going into the club, these people.
Exactly.
And so, but anyway, I held my ground, and I said, I'm going here for a purpose. I like to use the word healthfully selfish. That's one of my favorite words, healthfully selfish. I'm doing these things for my benefit, not necessarily their benefit.
Right.
And I came here with a purpose. I mean, I want to have everybody to benefit from this.
Of course,
but the idea is that, I'm going to give it my all as much as possible. But the idea, they couldn't care less about me when I was up there. And I said, I felt out of place. And I've taken some of those seminars also. And I asked a very famous booker, one of the big clubs, and I said to him, so-and-so, let's face it, I'm brand new to comedy. Right. How does the guy 60-something years old break into comedy? I'm like a dinosaur compared to a lot of people.
Dinosaur.
So he said to me, if you're funny, you're funny. But the thing is, a lot of my humor tends to be the fact I'm getting older, I'm a family guy, and so on and so forth. So my biggest struggle in comedy is being relevant. Right. How can I be relevant to every population? Right. And that's difficult, and that's very difficult.
That's very, a comic always has to ask themselves that question when we get in front of an audience.
Right. You don't know your audience. I mean, I can hit them with some getting old jokes, but how much can you hit them with that? If I'm not going to maybe talk about my son or talk about my boss or talk about what's going on in the real world, the millennials, they're the millennials. I labeled myself the perennials. We're the perennials, and so I try to do a comparison between the millennials and the perennials. Right. So, but I
don't even compare myself to the young people anymore. They're on their own rocket ride, and I'm going to let them ride it right on out to the moon.
Exactly.
I'm not going to the stars. So it's
right. You got to be committed to your material. So whether you're talking about getting old or relationships or whatever it may be, most of the people have had a parent or had experience with work or school, whatever it may be. I often tell this story about my high school days, and a lot of people don't believe me. When I say this is that when I went to a public high school, Bayside High School in New York City back in the early 70s. Mm-hmm. And in order to pass gym, we had to take swim class. But our swim class was a naked swim class. And as soon as I say that, people think I'm shoveling crap, but it's a true story. I literally had to take a naked swim class. Well, my birthday suit was my bathing suit. So I built a routine around that. And again, true life stories, how do you make it relevant to people now? Mm-hmm. And so they actually buy your story.
Right.
I kind of end the story by saying, exactly, that's our job. I kind of end the story by saying nowadays, no suit would equal lawsuit. And I didn't realize that I'm actually doing the pilot for that show, Naked and Afraid. And believe me, I was naked and very afraid. Imagine being 14. Imagine being 14 or 13 years old, having to do forced skinny dipping among all your classmates. Back then I barely even had eyebrows. So again, trying to have this whole story there. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's all relevant, and I love being a comic because our job is observation. That's really our job at the end of the day. But thank you so much. I need to go to a Sketch City. So we're going to be right back, guys. Check out this new Sketch City. Oh, hello. You're Justin Bieber. Nice to meet you. What a pleasure. Mm-hmm. My granddaughter Haley has told me all about you. Mm-hmm. Justin, would I like some soda pop? No, I wouldn't, but you can get my granddaughter here, Haley, some soda pop if you like. I'd like champagne, please. Yes, that's what I drink, champagne. Yes. How was the concert? Oh, it was quite interesting, Justin. Very, very interesting. No Cole Porter, no Bach, but you know, you young people. Yes, you're so modern. You see, I like everything in the 1940s, Justin. That's just me. Now, one little suggestion for me to you is I would dress up if I were you. Yes, I would dress up, dear, because those jeans and that little jean jacket, that's not really fancy to go at your concert. So that's the only advice I'd have for you, Justin. But Haley, is the car here yet? Yes, I have a car waiting for me, Justin. I must really go now. But it's been a pleasure meeting you. And oh, let me shake your hand. Yeah. Oh, Justin, you're fabulous. You take care of yourself now and dress up a little bit, just a little bit. Bye.
James Bond. So, Bond, I don't know how to tell you this, but apparently you have a VD.
Dr. X, you're a nosy little chap, aren't you? How did you know I had Vanessa Devereaux?
This Vanessa, where did you meet her, Bond? I thought all your women were tall, blonde, beautiful, and clean. Who was you at the last?
Whoever it was, she gave you an STD. Well, last week in Monaco, I dined with Samantha, Tanya, Vanessa, Sophia, and Daphne. Yes, indeed, Daphne. And then there was Bond. You have got to slow it down a bit before your packer falls off. You have a VD. I'm giving you some pills and a shot in the bum. Hold on. Did you say VD? Disease? Dr. X. Now you're making me uncomfortable, chap. Hey, what's up? You are watching On the Town. I'm your host, Tanya. In takeaway news, we're checking out the earnings here that's going on. So it's an earnings watch type of thing. How much is Big Pharma making from COVID-19 vaccines? We're going to find out. Let's see. First of all, the U.S. pharmaceutical companies are expected to collect more revenue from COVID-19 vaccines in the third quarter than they did in the entire first half of the year. And that money should continue to keep growing. On the first half of the year, Pfizer and Moderna reported a collective sales of $17.2 billion for their vaccines. Follow the money. But both are expected to report higher third quarter earnings, report higher third quarter totals in the coming week. And that's, let's say, a week or two, let's say. And that's a collective $18 billion, folks. Yes, you heard it right, $18 billion. Johnson & Johnson reported a little more than a week ago, more than $500 million in third quarter sales. Ooh, we're talking lots of money. Oh, it pays. Nearly double that, the $264 million it collected on the first half. Pfizer collected revenue for $11.3 billion in the first half of the year from its COVID-19 vaccines. Now, it's known as, hopefully I say this right, Comirnaty, and analysts project third quarter sales of $11.86 billion. That's right, you heard it right. Those numbers could be a bit high. However, as some of the sales get pushed into the fourth quarter when booster shots, which are now happening, and the newly authorized vaccine for young children begin landing in those arms. So go figure. Somebody's getting very, very rich, very, very rich, while the American people get very, very poor, except for the 1%, because no one's mentioned that there's no more jobs. Where are the jobs? Excuse me. There are jobs. I take that back. There are jobs if you want to take a risk. How about that? So there's a catch to it. You got to do what they say to do to get the job. So there are jobs. But also in health and science, Fauci says that the U.S. should consider vaccine mandate for domestic air travel, but he doesn't expect it for now. Yeah, I don't expect it either, Fauci, because I'll tell you why. Ain't nobody gonna be flying because you think if people are getting infections that are vaccinated, right? Whatever they call those infections, if they're getting infections, who's gonna be flying? I'm just saying, you guys, airlines, you might want to think about that. It's going to jack you up. I'm telling you. That's my prediction as a psychic. That's my prediction. It will jack you up if you make the vaccine passport. So do not make it because it's going to hurt everybody's business. Their business is already hurt. But now, got people going out, flying all over the world. That they're doing it. And luckily for us, Americans, we can fly out without being jabbed. We just have to have tests. And I will tell you this, you pay for them tests. I spent $1,500 for testing. We went to the UK. So I'm just saying, for two people, you can spend a lot on testing. It's ridiculous at this point. So they're making money. But anyway, in an interview Monday on MSNBC Morning Joe, Dr. Fauci said a vaccine mandate for domestic air travel is worth considering. Fauci, please. As of now, international travelers must show proof of vaccination and a negative COVID test in order to board a U.S.-bound flight, and also wear a mask. Now, that's what all my friends in England were like, oh my God, how'd you get that? How don't you need a vaccine? And it's like, no, you do not need a vaccine yet. Thank God. Because if you do, I won't be flying ever again. It will never happen. I will be swimming the lake or the ocean or something, anything but that. I will not be flying because it's not worth it for me. Anyway, but everybody's different. But Americans can go visit, thank God, internationally with just proof of test because that's a lot of money. Airlines already canceling flights from breakthrough infected sick staff. Imagine less flying if they enforce the passport, because I know people that work at the airlines and they told me who's out, and it's mostly the people that were vaccinated that are getting those breakthrough infections. They're the ones out. So the people that are in sometimes are the people who are not even vaxxed but are never sick. I'm just saying. Anyway, I also suggest the amount of money you have to spend to go to UK and Europe on testing, use the money for the kids' college or open a business instead, because it's expensive. So unless you got something to really go there for, including family, be like, hey, boo-boo, we're going to be Zooming from now on. That's it. Anyway, but it's up to you. Later on, on Monday, Fauci said he didn't think the mandate would be imposed anytime soon. That's because, we're not stupid. That's why. Anyway, I'm Tanya, signing out with the news. We'll see you soon. All righty.
I'm already broken. I think you'll stay in close cause you love the thing. I never try to change you in any way. And when we get too close, you just push away. Don't you know I never hurt you? Try to change or break your heart. I'll never leave you alone in the dark. Why do you walk away holding my heart? I'm there for you. Why can't you do the same for me? Why can't you treat me like the way I do? Why won't you do the same for me?
Hey, we are back. Thank you very much. We are back. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much for watching that. We're trying to give you more. So Bruce, it's been a pleasure having you. And is there anything coming up that we need to know about that you're going to be doing?
Let's see. I have a Zoom show this Friday night. Danny Deshi from California. I have Jerry Everett Hodges on Sunday. I have his show on No Line to Cross, and then I have a few other shows coming up, and I have a live show on the 25th right now. So I have about 6 Zoom shows and another live show. And anybody else who wants to book me,
Yeah. Where can people find you on your handles, Instagram and all that? I put your name up.
Okay, Bruce Lipsky Comedy, Lipsky Comedy on Facebook. I also have Bruce Comedy on Facebook. Then I have my website, brucecomedy.com. www.brucecomedy.com. And you can find all my stuff on there. Past shows, future shows. I haven't updated my website yet for January. I'm planning to do that tonight or tomorrow. So any other new shows coming up there will be on there. And a lot of times I don't have the links till the day of the show, so sometimes the link may not be active, but keep checking. And of course, go to my Facebook page. I'm usually posting there some of my posters too. This has been great. Thank you.
This has been awesome. I really appreciate you coming and taking the time. So guys, that's comedian Bruce Lipsky, who's been with us today. And to all my viewers out there, let me see who's out here. Kathy, I see some of you. Kathy, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And thank you, Emma, Anthony, and I thought I saw somebody else. Lynn, Letha, thank you. And Norma, thank you. What's up? And I don't know who that is. I can't see the other person. Sorry. But whoever you are out there, thank you so much for watching. You. I appreciate you, Bruce. Appreciate you. And you can check out Bruce Lipsky on any of his social media handles, especially Facebook. And you can check on the Town with Tanya out. Go to our page on our YouTube page. Please go like and subscribe and share. Why not? I mean, why not? We'll try to bring you more content as the new year comes in. We appreciate you. And you know what? I think that everybody should have, all artists should be able to be seen and be heard. That's what On the Town's about. I started this show 25 years ago in Brooklyn on what's it called? BCAT TV. And it was a commitment to having new artists who will never have their music video played or whatever. And then I just said, you know what? We'll do the interviews with it. And it became something else. So one day I'm hoping to make it even bigger. But for now, I appreciate you guys rocking with us. And you know, I just believe that real people should be able to do real things, and it shouldn't have to be edited and pretty and perfect and, you know, all packaged up really nicely. If we can do it, great. If you can't, still do whatever your dream is. Don't let anybody stop you, and don't let them tell you can't do it because it's not this way, period. That's it. So thank you very much. Until next time, I hope I will see you all next Sunday. And I thank you so much for watching. Hang out with me, Bruce.
Thank you.
Bye.
I will. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.